In the fall of 2024, America was experiencing a different kind of excitement under the leadership of its re-elected 45th and 47th President, Donald Trump. President Trump was known as a leader who liked to spend more time with the people. He was in New York that day and had an event scheduled around Central Park. But despite the tight schedule, he indicated that he wanted to take a short walk. Secret Service agents were reluctant for security reasons, but Trump was determined. "There is no greater security than being among the people," he said. The sky turned gray and the wind blew coldly. Trump is usually the center of attention as he walks through Central Park, but this time he was walking quietly among the people. He was looking for peace among the greenery and trees around him. However, while waiting for peace, he encountered something unexpected. A faint sound of crying from the crowd caught his attention. Trump paused for a moment and focused on the sound. "Did you hear that?" he asked his bodyguards. The agents nodded, but Trump was already following the sound. As he made his way towards the source of the sound, President Trump thought back to his own childhood. He remembered how his family often helped people who faced difficulties. The sound was coming from under a large pine tree. As Trump approached, he saw a child wrapped in an old and torn blanket. The child was shivering with his arms wrapped around his knees. A stern expression appeared on President Trump's face, but his eyes held a softness that reflected the child's desperation. "Son, what are you doing here?" he asked, his voice filled with unexpected compassion. The boy raised his head and looked at Trump in fear. "Samuel," he said, his voice shaky and weak. "My name is Samuel." Trump felt that this moment was much more than an ordinary encounter. As his bodyguards were about to say something, Trump gestured for silence. "I need to talk to this boy," he said. His decision would change Samuel's fate forever. Samuel looked Trump straight in the eye and began to tell a story. He was only 9 years old, but his life was already full of challenges. "My mom died a few months ago," he said. "My father left me. Now I live here." Samuel's every word echoed in Trump's mind. As a leader, it had become his duty to help people in distress. But this was an individual human story. This was an issue that touched Trump's heart. "Samuel told me that after his mother's death he ended up on the streets and sometimes slept in the park. He went hungry for days. He said people sometimes brought him food, but most of the time he was ignored." As Trump listened to Samuel's story, he thought about his love for his own children. Just the idea of his own children being in such a situation touched Trump deeply. Samuel's eyes reflected someone who had seen far more suffering than his age. "How long have you lived here?" Trump asked. "It's been months," Samuel said. Trump took a deep breath when he heard this answer. "No one has helped you? No support from anywhere?" Samuel shook his head from side to side. "No, no one helped me. No one cares about me." This answer broke Trump's heart. Samuel's loneliness and helplessness echoed in Trump's conscience. "Samuel, you will never be alone again," Trump said. These words lit a light of hope in Samuel's eyes. For the first time in his life, someone was saying they would help him. For President Trump, it wasn't just a promise. It was a call for leadership that he had to act on. Trump immediately moved to make Samuel feel safe. Turning to his bodyguards, he said, "This child cannot stay here. We must find a solution for him now," he said. The guards were surprised that the president had acted so quickly. But Trump was determined. He took Samuel by the hand and led him to his car at the edge of the park. Samuel looked at Trump, bewildered and timid. "Everything will change after today, Samuel," he told him. Samuel felt a warmth he hadn't felt in a long time. Sitting in the car, Trump took out his phone and called one of his most trusted charities. He told Samuel's story and asked what could be done to help him immediately. "We need to save this boy's life," Trump said, his voice stronger than ever. The person on the other end said they would act immediately. As Samuel sat in the car, food was ordered. "You must be hungry," Trump said. Samuel nodded slowly. As the food arrived, Trump continued talking to Samuel. He asked what his mother was like. Samuel told him that his mother always laughed, but when she was sick, no one helped her. Trump looked away as he listened to this story. He took a deep breath and said to himself, "This country should not leave its children like this." Sitting next to Trump in the car, Samuel felt safe for the first time. President Trump instructed his bodyguards to arrange a room for Samuel in a hotel. "Samuel urgently needs a warm place and food. We need to do something for him quickly," Trump said. Trump's instructions were quickly carried out, and within minutes a plan was in place for Samuel. Samuel was both surprised and hopeful at the attention he received in such a short time. The car pulled up outside a luxury hotel in Manhattan. The hotel staff had prepared a private suite for Samuel in accordance with President Trump's instructions. Samuel shyly got out of the car. Trump put his hand on the boy's shoulder and said, "Your life will change completely from here." These words filled Samuel's eyes. It was incredible to Samuel that a leader could care so much about a child like him. When Samuel entered the hotel, he was greeted with a hot shower and clean clothes. "Today you are making a new start in your life," Trump said, turning to Samuel. Samuel emerged from the bathroom to find a hot meal waiting for him on the table. For a boy who had struggled with hunger for years, this was not just food. It represented the beginning of a new life. Trump stayed by Samuel's side throughout this process. Speaking with Samuel in the lobby of the hotel, he wanted to learn more about the boy's dreams. "What do you want to do when you grow up, Samuel?" he asked. "I want to be a doctor, because when my mom was sick, no one helped her," Samuel said. These words touched Trump deeply. "Then we will make it happen," he said. Trump was determined to keep his promise to Samuel. In the early hours of the morning, Trump contacted several aid organizations to find more lasting solutions for Samuel. First, he met with the America's Hope Foundation, which helps homeless children. The director of the foundation said they could meet Samuel's housing, education, and psychological support needs. Trump pledged to make a large donation through his foundation to cover Samuel's expenses. Samuel's situation soon attracted media attention. The New York Times carried the story of Samuel's rescue on the front page. The story, headlined "President Trump Takes Action for Samuel," quickly spread on social media. People were following Samuel's rescue and Trump's intervention with admiration. President Trump said he wanted this to be a beacon of hope, not just for Samuel, but for all of America. Trump introduced Samuel to the director of the foundation. "Today we are preparing a bigger plan for you, Samuel. We're going to do everything we can to give you a better future," Trump said. Samuel was unable to express his emotions at the change he had experienced in such a short time. "Thank you, Mr. President," he said through tears. "This is just the beginning," Trump replied. Patting Samuel on the back, Samuel was soon included in the America's Hope Foundation's program. The foundation provided Samuel with temporary housing and a special education program. Thanks to Trump's donations, Samuel was enrolled in a school of his dreams. It was an institution designed specifically for homeless and struggling children, providing both academic and emotional support. Samuel now had a classroom, teachers, and friends. On his first day, the happiness on Samuel's face impressed all the school staff. The director of the foundation recognized Samuel's potential. "This child will not just be a recipient of help. In the future, he will be someone who helps others," she said. As Samuel told his new friends how Trump had helped him, everyone listened with admiration. Samuel's story gave hope to other children. Trump was closely following Samuel's education process. Once a month, he would video chat with Samuel to find out how he was doing. In each conversation, Samuel said he was one step closer to his dreams. "When you grow up and become a doctor, I will be proud of you," Trump said. Samuel took this as motivation and began to work hard. Samuel's story resonated with the American public. On social media, Trump's leadership and personal charity were praised. Even some critics acknowledged that the gesture was not politically motivated, but humanitarian. "President Trump has once again demonstrated what leadership means by changing a child's life," one commented. Samuel's story has inspired other leaders. Many politicians and charities have launched more fundraising campaigns for homeless children. Samuel has become a symbol of these campaigns. When people heard his story, they began to say, "If even one child can be saved, there is always hope." A year later, Samuel was a valedictorian at his school. President Trump invited Samuel to the White House. Samuel was experiencing one of the most important moments of his life. Standing in front of President Trump in the Oval Office, Samuel excitedly said, "Mr. President, you have given me a second life. I can't thank you enough for this." Trump tapped Samuel on the shoulder and said, "You deserve more than this thank you. Now I'm going to ask you for something. One day, when you have the opportunity to help others, don't miss it." Samuel looked at Trump with great determination and said, "I promise that one day I will save someone's life." Trump was proud of Samuel's promise. "I know that young people like you will make this country a better place," he said. Samuel knew that this moment would guide him for the rest of his life. Samuel's story was a testament to how powerful a leader's touch on an individual human being can be. For President Trump, it was not just a favor, but a message of hope for all of America. For Samuel, it was the beginning of a new life,